Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development to count everyone, all persons experiencing homelessness at a single point in time every year. That data is aggregated, is collected by every single continuum of care in late January, and the data is aggregated into a report submitted by HUD to Congress on the state and size of the population experiencing homelessness each year. In Westchester County, the COC has decided to conduct the pit count tomorrow night, Wednesday night, January 25th. And so this meeting is a training to discuss how we will be collecting the data for sheltered homeless, those persons experiencing homelessness that will be sleeping tomorrow night at an emergency shelter or in transitional housing for homeless persons. As noted in the agenda, in the info sheet that was sent out with the link to this meeting, again, this year we're going to be using the ArcGIS software interface to collect the data, and we're going to compare that data, mirror that data with the information that's already in our HMIS software client track. So we will talk about how to enter the data into ArcGIS, and then we'll talk about how to generate the two files, the reports out of client track that will be submitted as well. So before we get into those specifics, let's look at the overall workflow. The expected workflow is that all shelter sites and all transitional housing projects will enter data for every single household, a separate survey for each household at your facility tomorrow night, Wednesday, January 25th. All that data should be put into ArcGIS by Friday, February 3rd. That's a week from this coming Friday. So you'll have 9 days to enter data into ArcGIS. Once all the data is in ArcGIS, you'll generate a pit count report PDF file and an Excel data detail file from client track, and then email those two files to me, the PDF and the Excel file, in an email letting me know that all of the data has also been entered into ArcGIS. And then I will go over the data, noting where there are any deficiencies or corrections that are needed, discrepancies, and we will work together to make sure that the data in ArcGIS and HMIS is exactly correct, accurate, and complete. The agenda that you already have has two links to ArcGIS. The first one is a training survey. That survey site, that first link, is already open. We'll go through it momentarily, and you can use that training link, that training survey, to practice using ArcGIS over the next 24, 26 hours. About noon tomorrow, the training survey will be turned off. And at midnight, or just before midnight tomorrow, Wednesday, January 21st, the actual survey will be turned on. The second link, which is in a larger font, is the actual survey. So once the night of the count is passed, once we are past midnight on January 25th, you will be able to log into the actual site using that second link and enter data for individuals, households that actually are sleeping at your facility tomorrow night, Wednesday night. Each agency has a username to log into ArcGIS, as noted on the agenda sheet, and the password for each username is the same. It's WPIT 2023, standing for Westchester Point in Time 2023. So you'll press the link, enter in the appropriate username for your agency, and use that password, WPIT 2023. Let's follow that link together and look at the ArcGIS survey. All right, you should all be looking at now the ArcGIS survey login, so we can choose a agency's login and then put in the password, WPIT 2023, which is the same for all agencies, and sign in. Once we sign into ArcGIS, we are brought to the survey directly. There are no other screens. The first field is a survey date. That is the timestamp for when the survey is completed. It's understood that we are collecting data about the night of January 25th. It's required that we are collecting data about households staying at your facility on the night of January 25th, but you may be completing this survey on Thursday the 26th, or Friday the 27th, or Monday the 30th, as you work to enter in all your data. But you will not change the survey date. The survey date is meant to be a timestamp for when you're actually entering the data, not for the night of the count. So the survey date is set by the system. You don't need to. Please don't change that. Having a correct timestamp will help us to identify a specific survey if any corrections need to be made. Next field, of course, is the surveyor name. That is the name of the staff who is completing this specific survey. Please don't enter the name of the client in this field. There's a subsequent field for the client's name. This is the name of the staff who is completing the survey, again, so that we can know who to contact for any corrections that are needed. Is this person in a shelter? The only choice is yes. This is a sheltered survey. Everybody who we are entering data for using this survey is sleeping Wednesday night, tomorrow night, either in an emergency shelter or transitional housing for homeless people. Next question is to identify the specific facility where the household that you are entering data for slept on January 25th. Obviously, if your agency has multiple facilities, for instance, if Lifting Up Westchester has Open Arms Drop-In, Samaritan House, and Samaritan House Drop-In, you'll want to choose the correct facility for the specific client, the specific household that you are completing the survey for. Are you able to survey this person? Yes, we are completing a survey. and using information that we have previously collected, almost all of which is already in HMIS, to complete this survey. Therefore, are we able, the only choice here is yes. The next two fields allow us to identify for the system how many people are in the household. Two fields. One asks us to identify how many adults are in the household. HUD defines an adult as anyone who is 18-year-old or over, meaning they have had an 18th birthday. And children, the second field, is anyone who is 17 years or younger, has not yet reached their 18th birthday. As I've already alluded to, one survey is completed for every household separately that is sleeping at your facility tomorrow night. So if you run a single shelter and all households are single adults, every single survey will be just one individual, one adult. If you run a family shelter or a EHAP program where there are multiple people in every household, you'll be identifying how many people are in the household, and again, completing one survey per household. So if there are 24 single individuals sleeping at a shelter, you'll complete 24 surveys for those 24 people. Conversely, if you run a family shelter, say, with 40 families sleeping at the shelter with 200 people, you will complete 40 surveys for the 40 families, 200 people. When we enter, as we change the number of people, you'll notice that the list of questions, there will be a button for each person, and you'll go through the set of questions, first for the first person you've identified in the household, then the second one, and then the third, if there are more than one. All right, so let's look at the questions and specific questions on the ArcGIS survey. If you've done the survey before, only one of the questions has changed since last year. It should look familiar. First question is the initials or the name of the first person. You could, if you can, please enter the full name of each person. Otherwise, initials is sufficient, and then the HMIS client ID for each individual, for the first individual. If you are a domestic violence shelter, operating a domestic violence shelter, you can enter 99999 is a dummy HMIS ID in this field, but that applies only to DV shelters. The next two questions, how are you related to person one, and are you staying in the same location of person one? For the first person in a household, we skip because this is how they relate to the person. Obviously, the person is the same as person one, and so you'll skip how are you related to person one for person one, leave it blank. Same location as person one, we skip, and then the question on age. This question is a little different from prior years. Up to last year, there were only 3 age categories: under 18, 18 to 24, and 25 and older. Now HUD has divided that 25 and older age category into these decade bands: 25 to 34, 35 to 44, etc. I'll enter the age of the first individual, ethnicity, race, gender. There are next some dynamic questions about veteran status. Is the person a veteran? If you answer yes, there'll be a question about if they have served, if they are VA eligible, if they were receiving health care or benefits from the VA healthcare system. If you answer no to the veteran question, the question it will ask if the person has ever been active duty in the National Guard. This is the first time you have experienced homelessness. If this individual has prior episodes of homelessness, you will answer no. If this is the first episode of homelessness in their lifetime, you'll answer yes. How long is in days, the current episode of homelessness? And then if they have prior episodes, how many prior episodes are there? 4 or more times, including the current episode, or less than 4 times, including the current episode. And then finally, all of those episodes together, including the current one, what is the total length of time that this person has experienced homelessness? Obviously, the second number of days has to be greater than the first number of days field. The first field is only the current episode, and the second number is the current episode plus all other episodes in the last 3 years. And it must be larger than the first one. Where did you last have a permanent home? 2 choices: either an institution such as foster care, jail, inpatient mental health hospitalization, drug abuse treatment facility, etc., or their own home. And if they had their own home, we ask that you enter either an address, at least the city where they were living before they became homeless. For adult members of a household, there are some subpopulation questions, mostly about barriers to answer, about substance abuse, serious mental illness, physical disability, chronic health condition, and then do any of those barriers that are present for this individual rise to the level of a disability that prevents them from working or living independently. Is this individual HIV positive? And then finally, 2 questions that are specific to Westchester, not in HMIS. Has this person ever received special education services? Have they ever been in foster care? Does the person receive SSI, SSDI, or veteran disability benefits? And then finally, is this person have a domestic violence history? Have they ever been physically, emotionally, or sexually abused by a relative or another person they have stayed with, such as a spouse, partner, brother, sister, or parent? You can geocode the survey to the address of your shelter. You can either type in the address into the address field for this location question, or assuming you are completing the survey at the shelter, you can hit this target button and the software will geolocate your IP address and automatically find the latitude and longitude for the survey. Last question is, does this person need immediate follow-up? This is a question meant for the unsheltered survey, so you should answer no for all. This question asks for someone unsheltered, do they need immediate follow-up from an outreach worker? Someone who is sheltered doesn't need immediate follow-up, so you can answer no. Once you've answered all of the questions for the first person in a household, you can go back up to the numbered list of household members, hit 2, and answer questions for any other members of the household. If there's only one household member, obviously, you'll only do one set of questions. If there are 2, 3, 4, or 5 members, you will complete the questions a second, third time, etc. Enter initials of the second household member, the HMIS ID. Now we do not skip the relationship questions. How are they related to person 1? Child, spouse, other family, non-married partner, other non-family. And then, are they staying in the same location with person 1 tonight? The answer to that question should always be yes. Any household members that are not sleeping at your facility Wednesday night, January 25th, should not be included in this survey. If there is a family that normally has 4 people, but one of the members of the household is out of town, is temporarily in jail, is in the hospital tomorrow night, you will not include them in the survey. You'll also check them out in HMIS, but you will not include them in ArcGIS if they do not sleep in your shelter tomorrow night, Wednesday, January 25th. Age, ethnicity, race, gender, homeless history, and where they lived before homelessness started. Location, which we can geocode automatically. And then the final question, which we answer no for immediate follow-up. As you have noticed, for children members of the household, there are many fewer questions. None of the disability questions, none of the veteran status questions are included for individuals who are under 18. Before we move on, are there any questions about completing the ArcGIS survey, accessing the survey, difference between the training survey and the live real survey, any of the questions on the survey, etc. Okay, if not, glad everything is clear. Once you have completed all the questions for all the members of a household, you can hit submit. The survey will be recorded, assuming it is the actual survey, and then there is a button, press here to submit another response. That will take you right to a new blank survey. And you can continue in your workflow entering a separate survey for every single individual or every single family household that stays at your facility tomorrow night. All right. Once All of the data for every household is entered into ArcGIS. The only remaining part of the workflow is to go into ClientTrack and generate a PDF pit count report and then an Excel file which has the detailed data behind that PDF pit count report. You included with the invitation to this meeting, with the link to this meeting, was the agenda, which has the link to ArcGIS and the login information, and then there was a second Word file which contains detailed instructions, step-by-step, these 13 steps, to log into ClientTrack, generate the reports, both files. So we'll log into ClientTrack together now and go through all these steps, but you do have a written version of all of these steps to refer to later. All right. Hopefully, we're all looking at ClientTrack dashboard. This should look familiar to everyone. In order to access the pit count reports, you want to navigate to the home workspace. As you're already familiar with, the home workspace is accessed with the ribbon on the left, the top option, the stripy person icon, which is the first icon. Top icon is pressed to access the home workspace. Once you're in the home workspace, you can press the reports option, and then compliance reports, other reports, and then one of the options, the fourth option in other reports, is the HUD point-in-time report 2022. It was dated 2022 because it is based on data standards released by HUD in middle of 2022. So again, you're going to the home workspace, and then reports, compliance reports, other reports. All that's written in the instructions that you already have. Once you're at other reports, you can choose the HUD point-in-time report. This form will allow you to generate the point-in-time report and then export it as a PDF. The first field is point-in-time date. Of course, when you are generating your actual report to submit to the COC, you will choose January 25th, 2023, because that is the night of the count. For all the reports you generate, of course, you'll generate a separate point-in-time count report out of HMIS for each of your facilities if you have multiple facilities belonging to your agency. But you'll always choose January 25th, 2023. For this demonstration, we'll choose an earlier date because 25th data does not yet exist. Your organization should be pre-chosen. Filter by programs. Click Filter by Programs in order to choose a specific single facility that you are generating a report for. Unsheltered count criteria. You'll choose Outreach Contact 425. And then Sheltered Special Population and Veteran Determination. You'll click the Use Most Recent checkbox. So you'll choose a point-in-time date, January 25th, 2023, filter by program, and choose your specific single shelter or DH project. Outreach contact 425 is the service code, and then use most recent special population determination, and then hit the blue report button. Takes about a minute for the report to generate. So while we're waiting, are there any questions about generating this point in time count report in ClientTrack?
Not at this time.
Okay. Glad I'm being clear. All right, the report has 6 pages. You can navigate among the 6 pages to see data. For single shelters, note that the first page of the report is for households with at least one child, for family households, and the second page contains data for households with only adults. So single shelters, the first page will always be all zeros, and sometimes there are staff from single adult shelters that get scared when the report looks like it's all zeros, but your information is on the second page. Once the report generates, we can export to PDF by clicking on this floppy disk icon at the top, and then clicking export to PDF. That's the first of the files that will be submitted to the COC. The second is a data detail report that contains the names of the clients and the data that was used to generate that report. To generate and export that Excel file, click on the number in the total number of household row, the first row in the report. So here there are 10 households. In this report, we can click on it, and a daughter window will open up showing the names of the clients. In order to export the data detail Excel file, once this daughter window has opened up, we'll click on the export, the floppy disk icon, export, and this time choose Excel data. Make sure that you export the initial window to PDF, and then click on the total number of households row. And when the daughter window opens, export to Excel data. That will be the second file. Once you've downloaded both the PDF file and the Excel data file from ClientTrack, and all your data is entered into ArcGIS, a separate survey for each household, you can email the 2 ClientTrack files to me with a note to let me know that the ArcGIS data is complete. So again, are there any questions about entering data into ArcGIS or exporting the 2 pit count files from ClientTrack?
Morning, Johan. This is Katie from the Coachman. I have a question.
Okay.
At the Coachman, we get a lot of emergency placements. We're counting them as well, correct?
Yes, anyone who is sleeping at your shelter or transitional housing facility on Wednesday night, tomorrow night, should be included in the survey. Those people are homeless and should be counted on our point in time count.
Thank
Correct.
you. Thank you.
Great. Good questions? Any others? Okay, if not, thank you for attending this training, and especially thank you for working over the next few weeks to make sure that the point in time count is complete and accurate before we submit our data to HUD.
And the deadline is Friday, February 3rd, correct?
Yes, 1 week from Friday.
Thank you.
1 week from this Friday.